Hi everyone, a very pleasant Friday afternoon to you. Isaac Petcash here with Erie News Now. I'm inside the Erie News Now alert desk as we're getting ready to bring you our 5 o'clock newscast. Before that, I wanted to give you some information and an update relating to a story that's been developing throughout the day, a story that potentially means Delta Airlines will no longer be providing service to and from the Erie International Airport. This has been developing throughout the day, and I want to show you what it really started with. It started with a couple of things as I come over to this camera here. It started with a couple of pictures that our crews took this morning. You see inside of the Erie International Airport the Delta sign where you would normally go in to check your bags and make sure you were indeed on your flight. Nobody manning the station, and the Delta logo ripped apart. The letters completely taken off of that sign. So that in of itself wouldn't be enough to prove that Delta was no longer providing service. But we also received a couple of tips. More than two, multiple employees of Delta Airlines, of the Erie International Airport, I should say, that were involved with the last couple of months of flights and proceedings, who came and told me this morning anonymously that they were told that Delta would be permanently suspending operations in Erie and in the surrounding area for to and from the airport. We then also followed up with several members of the board of directors of the Erie International Airport. Multiple sources from the board telling us today that Delta has indeed permanently suspended the flight service from Erie. It's important to know, if you've been following along here, if you take flights out of Erie on a regular basis, Delta had been temporarily suspended from flying to and from Erie. Erie was one of a massive locations that in essence stopped sending people on airlines from airport to airport because of the COVID-19 pandemic. So it was a way to save money, a way that smaller airports would be able to hopefully cut some costs, and in that case wouldn't have to worry about having different airports and different airport costs and things of that nature come in of different airlines. But when you hear that temporary service had been suspended, and then you hear that permanently service has been suspended, that's a big moneymaker for the airport that could potentially be gone. So we have multiple sources inside the airport telling us that service has been permanently suspended. Now, we've reached out to the director of the Erie International Airport. We've yet to receive a response from the director. We did, however, hear from the CFO, the Chief Financial Officer of the airport, who tells us at this point he has not been informed whether or not there is actually a permanent separation between Erie and Delta Airlines. So, we don't know from the airport, confirmed or not, if Delta is suspending service. We've also reached out to Delta Airlines in and of itself, and I want to show you this email that we received earlier. Our digital producer, Doug Rogers, getting this as he was one of two people, including myself, to send an inquiry. You can see here there is a link that he provides in response to this question that we have, and the link is that June 5th, 2020 press release. This is the press release that temporarily suspended Delta service from Erie. Like we said, that was because of the COVID pandemic. You see Erie is listed as one of 11 affected stations by this shutdown. And what it meant, again, was a cost-saving measure during COVID when there was a financial burden and strain on so many airports around the nation. Now, there was no knowledge of when this temporary restriction would be lifted, but it was still going on all the way through now, mid-July of 2021. So here's where we're at right now. We're still working to get answers for you. We've reached out to Delta, we've reached out to the airport authority, we've been in contact with members of the board of directors for the Erie International Airport, and we've been in contact with employees of the Erie International Airport who are all telling us a myriad of things. Some are telling us inside of the airport that Delta service has been permanently suspended. Others will not confirm whether or not this is true and if it's simply just a remodeling or a restructuring of the airport. So tonight we're getting answers for you. We're breaking all of this down in our newscast starting at 5 o'clock. We're continuing to make calls and see what exactly is going on at the airport, if anything at all. We'll tell you what we know, we'll tell you what we don't know, and we'll explain exactly how we got to the answers that we did as we move forward through our newscast throughout the evening. So, if you're a traveler, if you're taking a vacation, if you go through the Erie International Airport, you'll want to tune in tonight because this is a potential game-changing moment for the airport if indeed it is a permanent shutdown of Delta Airlines to and from Erie in terms of their airline traveling to the airport. All those details coming up tonight starting at 5 o'clock on Erie News Now. We hope to see you then. Until that time, everybody stay safe and healthy